Hello, welcome to Paul's Take, and this is how you drive on ice. So let me first tell you who am I? Well, I am a road supervision for this transit company, and I'm like the guinea pig to go out and test out roads when it's icy or snowy or slippery. So I'm going to go out there and check it out. So I'm the one that tests all the roads and see if they're safe for the buses. And a lot of times they're not safe. And I guess I'm pretty, I don't know, I didn't tell you about my technique there because who knows who's watching this. But I got a lot of experience off of one storm. That's right. So back, maybe 14 years ago, I moved out to North Carolina. And the first time they had a snowstorm, I thought, turned out to be an ice storm. It was, they were calling for light flurries. But there wasn't a light flurry, there was a heavy flurry. But all the snow, I'm not sure what the exact cause and effect, but I don't think it was exactly, maybe the ground was cold or something, or I don't know. But whatever happened, it looked like it snowed, but it didn't really snow. It had a sheet of ice underneath the snow, and it was slippery like crazy. And everybody got caught off guard of the storm because, like I said, it was not expected. And cars were spinning out everywhere. And I thought I could drive in snow because being from Los Angeles, I used to drive into the mountains. Sometimes it snowed. And coming across the country, it snowed. And I had no problems at all. Because apparently they plow the roads, they treat the grounds. But in this situation, they didn't do anything for the grounds. And it was like a freak occurrence. And it was just a sheet of ice. And everybody went to work. And now everybody had to go home. And for most commuters, that normally takes them about 30 minutes to get home, it was taking them up to like 8 hours. Cars are spinning out everywhere. Cars were all into the shoulders, all into the mediums, and people were just walking home. They couldn't get rescued because nobody had cars to get out there, and everybody, it was a mess. Tractor trailers were jackknifing left and right. It was unbelievable. I thought it was normal. But anyways, so it was like and I happened to be out as well. And luckily for me, I was only normally it would take 10 minutes. In this case, it took 2 hours to get home. But like I said, for most people, it was taking like 8 hours to get home. People were running out of gas, and it was a pretty terrible situation. So, while I was actually waiting for something. So I didn't head off right away, and I listened to the radio and got all this advice, and I applied the advice, and it got me home. So I'm going to tell you what they told me and how I got home. And I was driving at the time a Ford. It was like probably a 1995 Ford F-150, two-wheel drive, and nothing in the back. So it was light in the back, which makes it extra slippery. There's no weight back there. And now I'm driving off to get home with my wife in the car. So it was slightly hills. What I did was I tried to use the back roads. But it was like, you drive down one road, people will spin out, block the road, you got to go another way. But the first lesson, the first thing you must understand about ice, it's not like snow. It's completely slippery. Especially if the roads are ice and the ice is starting to melt, but there's still a layer of ice. That's going to become supersonic, crazy slippery. So the first thing you want to do is hopefully you're not out in that situation. So if it's going to be ice out, and don't go out. That's the first thing. Snow is one thing, ice is a whole other different ballgame. So number one rule, don't go out. Now if you happen to be out and you're trying to get home in a situation like this, if you can't stay where you are, if you're like on the road, all of a sudden the freak storm happened, you got to get home because your dogs are hungry or something. I don't know. For a reason, you got to go home. There's a good chance you're not going to make it. Just let you know right now, there is a good chance you're going to end up in a ditch. You're going to end up in a fender bender. I'll tell you what the AAA suggest. Then I'll tell you, that way you can get two different advices. So AAA says, slow down. When you're coming up on an icy corner, keep the steering wheel perfectly straight. Come straight to your corner. Then let's see. Turn once the car once you have reached the car's speed under control. So once you get to a speed where you want to make your turn, then you start your turn. So slow down straight, and then once you're going, like, say, 3 miles an hour, then you make your turn. And you don't accelerate in the turn at all. Just kind of coast through the turn at a slow rate of speed, 3 to 5 miles an hour. And then once you're straight, after making your turn, then ever so gingerly tap on the gas. And that's what they're saying. Now, what I had learned was, for one, you want to go really slow. You want to go slow, you don't want to accelerate, you don't want to stop, and you don't want to turn. If you could manage those 4 things, you might be all right, as long as somebody else doesn't hit you, lose control, which is very, very, very possible, which is one of the scariest things about being out in ice, is that other people are very likely to run into you. Even if you're doing everything right, and you're lucky, and you got everything down, there's a good chance somebody's going to slide into you. So that's also an issue. So the first thing I say, the situation is so slippery where it's ridiculous. People are just sliding everywhere. What you want to do is go about maybe 5 to 8 miles an hour. That's it. 5 to 8 miles an hour, and try to avoid stopping. Try to use the momentum of the car to get you going. Try not to accelerate. Just kind of feather the gas. Hopefully you get a little momentum and just kind of let off the gas. Just feather it, so that way the momentum is keeping you going forward. Try to avoid stopping. I mean, really, if you stop, you might not be able to start again. And once you stop, I've seen cars that were stopped, and they're stopped, and there's ever so slight curvature in the road, and they will start sliding sideways on the road into the ditch, or to the side of the road, or to the grass or whatever. But they'll do that. They'll just slide after you stop. So you want to try to avoid stopping. So you want to time your light. If you see a light coming up, you try to get there where you don't have to stop, because there's a good chance, 1, you're not going to start again, and 2, if you stop, you're going to slide. So try to keep going at all costs. If you got to turn to keep the momentum going, you might have to turn, make that right turn or something. Or if you're in the middle of nowhere, I'm not saying run a red light or a stop sign, but if there's nobody, if you're only going 5 miles an hour and you can see there's nobody coming and you're at a stop sign, I'm not saying what to do. I'm just saying. All right. Now, if you do have to turn, I think I agree with what they say. It's been a while, but I remember. So you basically, like you said, go try to get a certain speed, because you don't want to, it's so easy to spin out and so easy to lock up on ice. I mean, barely anything, almost anything will get you to lock up, and anything will get you to spin out. So when you're on your turn, you don't want to be in that turn. You don't want to be in a turn and your wheels are spinning, because you won't have control at all. So if you got a turn, try to get yourself at about 5, almost the same speed, 5 to 6 miles an hour, and just try to coast that turn, and then try to feather it out. Just when you're straightened out, feather it out. That's going to be your best bet. Also, potentially, if you're in a very rural area, you might have some grass next to you. If you got some grass next to you and you get some wheels on those grass, you could be better off. Now, I didn't do that, but it seems logical that in most situations where you have less traction, sometimes getting your wheels on the grass helps out. Alrighty, well, I think that's about it. So don't stop. Try to stop. And nowadays cars have anti-lock brakes, so if you're coming down a hill or something like that, I almost feel like the thing is, if you lock up, here's the thing I learned. If you lock up the brakes, you can't control the car at all. You just start sliding into a ditch, or it'll just go wherever it wants to go. But if you have a little bit of movement, if the wheels are moving, if the wheels are moving without any restriction, like if you're not pushing on the gas or brake, you can actually turn the vehicle. You can control it a little better. So you actually, if you're going down a hill or something, or straight away, and you're trying to hit the brakes and you just realize you're just sliding uncontrollably in any which direction, it's better to let off the brake. Hopefully you're only going 5 miles an hour, because you listen to me, 5 miles an hour. And then usually you can grab enough traction to kind of point you in the right direction. And a lot of times, that's the ultimate goal, is just to point yourself in the right direction. So you don't want to lock up. Locking up, you lose total control. You spin out, you're going to lose control too. So getting the wheel just rolling on its own is probably the best you can hope for. That's your goal. You know, and that's about it, man. That's all the advice I got for you. So simply steady, use as little gas as possible, avoid braking. If you do brake and you lock up, let off on the brake and try to, at least that way you can guide your vehicle to something that's not going to hurt you. Dang, this car. All right, thanks for watching Paul's Take. And if you have other advices, other tips, put it in the comment box so that way everybody else can read it and say, huh, that's a good idea. I like that. Thanks for watching Paul's Take.